Tori from Atlanta, how would you rate the careers of Sheamus, Dolph Ziggler, and Cesaro? What do you think gives them their longevity in their WWE careers? I think that someone like a Dolph Ziggler is kept around because they just think he's useful. Dolph Ziggler, they can just plug in wherever they need him. It could be in a tag team. It could be in a singles feud. And he keeps his mouth shut. We were talking about Top Dollar earlier, right? Calling the office. Why'd you fire BFAB? Or, hey, turn the audio down in the segment. It's a little too high. And if they think you're a giant pain in the ass, and they think you should just keep your mouth shut and do what you're told, Dolph Ziggler, it seems like he keeps his mouth shut and does what he's told. And all the people on the internet are the ones who always say, oh man, they're wasting Ziggler. Oh man, all the potential that Dolph Ziggler had. And yet, what did Dolph Ziggler do time and time again? His contract would come due, he would re-sign with the company. His contract would come due, he would re-sign with the company. He has outside interests. He's got he has a little comedy career for himself. I think he's just content where he is, and he doesn't do anything or say anything to rock the boat. And that's exactly what WWE loves. They love people who just keep their mouth shut, do what they're told, and don't rock the boat, and don't cause headaches. I think that, as much as anything, has to do with how Ziggler is stuck around as long as he has. Cesaro, I think they recognize that he's a quality talent. They just don't see him at a top level. Sheamus is great. I think Sheamus is he has been a hero for them over the pandemic era into this year. The matches he's had, he's another one. You could just plug him in wherever you need him. He's done the tag team thing. He's done the singles thing. Now there's this pairing with him and Ridge Holland. They're going to use him to try to get Ridge Holland over on TV. Sheamus looks the part. He's got size. He's a brawler. He's got a unique look to him. I think they like that about him. And as far as rating their careers, they've all had varying levels of success. I mean, Sheamus has been very successful. He's held almost every championship there is to hold except the Universal and the IC. He's won King of the Rings. He's won Royal Rumbles. He's done it all. I think he's had an excellent career. Dolph Ziggler has also had a very good career, but it's a career that people are going to look back on and say, he could have been a little bit higher than he was. Cesaro, people are going to look at and say he should have been a lot higher than he was. He's had a good run. Cesaro should have had a great run. A lot of wasted potential with Cesaro. Chase from Verona, Wisconsin. Could Jay Lethal's signing be used as a way for an invasion of some kind by some of the ROH roster? Maybe 4 other people come in and beat down Sammy and the rest of the Inner Circle. Could have the Briscoes, Flip Gordon, and another guy show up to help beat down the Inner Circle. Could lead maybe to Final Battle. End the ROH as we know it with a major 5-on-5 battle. I believe Chase sent that in before Lethal had his match with Sammy on Dynamite. I mean, it's an interesting idea. I think the whole concept of these invasions has sort of jumped the shark, and a lot of people just don't do them the right way. But the idea that AEW has absolutely no incentive to help Ring of Honor. So I don't know why AEW would send anybody to Ring of Honor to be on their pay-per-views. So no, I don't see that happening. I don't think it needs to. We already saw Lethal on Wednesday. He had a great match with Sammy. It looks like he's going to be doing his own thing. I think the Briscoes coming in absolutely should happen. I think it will happen. But do they need to come in as part of some kind of invasion? I don't think it's necessary. My man, Rodimus Prime, dropping an email question. What would you think of a potential G1 Climax where half the field is New Japan and the other half is AEW? And if it happens, who from AEW would you put in the tournament not named Punk or Danielson? Well, first of all, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The AEW is not sending 4, 5, 6 or more of its talent to Japan for a G1. That is a grueling schedule. And Tony Khan, it's one thing if you have one person or even 2 who go over there to do a one shot or a brief tour or something. They can't afford to lose that many people at once. They'd have to travel. They might have to quarantine, whatever the restrictions are at that time. So it's not practical. But let's entertain the thought. Who would I include from the AEW roster not named Bryan Danielson or CM Punk? I mean, I think Kenny Omega is an obvious one. Andrade would be a great fit for the G1. Malachi Black. I think Miro. I think Pac would be great. And I'll throw Penta out there. I think Pentagon would also be good for a spot in the G1. Buford from Memphis, Tennessee. Has John Cena passed Stone Cold Steve Austin in popularity and in pop culture? That is an interesting question. Pop culture, yes. Yes, he has. Popularity is a subjective thing, because what do you mean by that? Are you talking about popularity in pop culture, or are we talking popularity in pro wrestling? You could say yes, but you could also say no. Are we talking about them in their respective kind of glory periods? What years would that be? For Austin, we know that that's pretty much 97 to 2001, let's say, even though he went on a little bit longer. For Cena, are we talking? I mean, what are we talking about? Cena had a much longer run than Austin did, but at no point in John Cena's popularity did he have that brief period that Austin had. I mean, it was brief. I mean, Austin really was white hot for about 2 years, maybe 2.5. John Cena had a 15-plus year run that Austin never had because his neck and his knees, it didn't allow him to have that kind of run, and he had to retire when I think he was 38. So we're talking about two very different types of careers, but when Austin was white hot at his peak, there has never been anybody in the history of that company, and I'll throw Hogan in there as well, who at their peak was as white hot as Austin was when he got hot in the late 90s. So the popularity thing, I'm a little uneasy answering that because, that can mean so many different things. Current day pop culture, yeah, John Cena is a bigger star than Steve Austin is. And there's more people when you say the name John Cena who are going to know who that is than would if you said Steve Austin or Stone Cold Steve Austin. Carlos from New York, what do you think it would take for WWE to revert back to a wrestling-centric product like NXT under Triple H? I mean, look, WWE has... It's not as if they don't have any really great wrestling matches on television or on some of their pay-per-views. NXT was more wrestling-centric. The issue is not everything needs to be wrestling-centric. I'm fine with having interesting characters and stories that don't... It's not always about the moves and the matches and stuff. I just want to have fun and be entertained. And WWE just does a very poor job of that right now. That's really what it boils down to. I don't want WWE to necessarily be the way that NXT was, where it's just about the matches between the indie guys. I never said that that's what I wanted. I just want them to put a product out that is interesting. We get some great wrestling matches out of it. Great. That's a bonus. But WWE has never been just about wrestling. They've never been a wrestling-centric product. That's just never been them. So I don't know why you think all of a sudden they would change. I mean, it worked for NXT. I don't know that would work for WWE. The problem is that the brand of sports entertainment that WWE gives us a lot of the time sucks. You can do sports entertainment. At least be good at it, though, if you're going to do it.